You're watching Inside Spurs with our partners talkSPORT Bet. Don't forget, new customers get an exclusive offer of £40 in free bets when you bet £10. Go to talksportbets.com/Inside Spurs to claim this offer now. Right, let's talk about the Champions League game coming up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We are... Where are they in the league table?
I think we're 15th, which does sound quite low, but, you know, we saw PSG were in that lingering middle section and they went on to win it, so...
And Copenhagen are about 24th, I think?
Yeah, I think they're near the bottom,
Yeah, so normally you'd think that would be a banker, Sonny.
I mean, it's Tottenham at home, isn't it? So we never know nowadays. Maybe we'd rather play in Denmark. But it probably is... I mean, David said it earlier, I'm nicking people's quotes again, but...
that a minute.
Sonny Stealing.
Yeah.
Sonny Stealing is his new name.
Well, we called it the banker. Like, it's probably like a nice game to have in between Chelsea and Man United. And I just think we need to go out and get a statement victory, maybe even play quite a strong team or get some minutes in the legs of, you know, certain players who haven't featured too much this season already. But you just hope that the likes of a Xavi Simons or a Kolo Muani can get their first goals, because I think we need those moments with some players just to get... I mean, it sounds silly, your first goal and all that, but it can get the ball rolling and we could go on to a run. And, like, you know, in the Champions League, I think in this new format as well, if you win your home games, your 4 home games, and, like, even just get draws in your away games, and we've got PSG and Dortmund to come as well, I think you'd be pretty fine. And as we've said already, we've drawn the 2 away games already, 1 against Villarreal at home, even though they weren't pretty. But that would be the perfect, perfect result in the end. Romero,
Odobert and Odogi all returned from injury, Maya. You mentioned Romero, you wanted him on from half-time. Obviously, he's got a start, I think, once he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
Even moving forward, we look a bit more assured with Romero.
Yeah, 100%.
And anyone else you would look at that game thinking, right, we must start them?
I'd start Doggy, personally. I'd drop Spence. That feels a little bit reactionary. Look, I'm one of Jed Spence's biggest fans. Really, really like him.
So much so you've dropped him?
Yeah. It's ruthless over here, isn't it?
That's why I'm not a Premier League manager. However, I think we spoke about it and the balance of the team and him being a right-footed player on the left side. And as well, I don't think recent performances have been incredible from him.
I'd agree with that.
So
he set a high bar. So
yeah. And now we're feeling the drop-off. And I feel like when that happens, and you've got a player sat waiting on the bench that is his actual position, get him back in. So yeah, I'd start a Doggy. As for Odobert, I'm torn with this one. He frustrates me a little bit. I feel like he's got all the qualities to be a really good player. And I'm not saying that he isn't, but I feel like, you know, he just lacks that end product. Yeah, exactly. But then the question is, what does that attack look like? I probably wouldn't start him. No, but I'd definitely start the other 2.
Yeah. Bence, we are struggling up top at the moment.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
I thought Muani was trying his best on Saturday to do something. He was running a lot.
Yeah, I do like him from that point of view.
Yeah, but it just felt like he had 0 service. Would you start him or Richie?
I think I'd start him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Richarlison, he's when we talk about frustrating players, he tries his hardest, doesn't he? He gives a lot, you know, even when he gets...
Gives a lot of that.
He gives a lot of talk, and that, you know, I do like that, but you just want to see a little bit more quality with his hold-up plays, link-up plays. He's quality on the ball.
Even when he chooses to pull the trigger sometimes, I think, like...
Yeah, don't look... Yeah.
Why hasn't he done it then?
I know, which is difficult for any team. You know, when you look around the league, you put a top quality centre forward within that team, it just frees you up from... That's defensively and midfield sort of boys. When you've got somebody running the channels, you know that they can hold the ball up, you know they're occupying the defence, you know, pushing them back all the time, it opens up space.
Yeah, we've seen a masterclass from Haaland over the weekend.
Yeah, Haaland just
shows the levels of centre forwards, and that, again, we harper back to Harry Kane. We were so lucky that for that period of time we had he's there. It's fine.
You don't understand when the player's doing that for your team like that. And they're doing work which you sometimes don't see. You know, he's occupying the defenders, running the channels.
And I do think that's why we're missing Solanke a lot. I think he does a lot of work that people don't necessarily see.
100%. I think he's a prime example. When you take him out of the team, like, we're going to go up a level with him in the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a difficult one from a centre forward point of view and across the team. He's going to have to make changes, but we've got so many injuries, which is difficult on him making them decisions and who he puts in and how you're going to have a positive effect.
Tell's ineligible because he's not in the Champions League squad as well, so that's not an option. So again, that forces his hand, as well as having 10 players
10,
injured, you know.
That's an unbelievable number, by the way, 10.
We talked about last season being an injury crisis. Are we in an injury crisis here, Sonny?
Yeah, it's just the other end this time, isn't it? Last year we were having like Dragerson and Davis at the back. Now we're just trying to get something together up top. And the thing is, there's so much pressure on all those strikers because they've got, you know, the Harry Kane pressure of like, this guy led the line, look how good he was, even though he's left 3 years ago now. You've got Richarlison, who started the season off quite well.
Oh, we thought he was going to be R9.
Yeah.
Now he's dropped off again. And then you've got Colin Moani, who I think he's the best fit one available at the moment. But then I think Dominic Solanke, I think Bence is right, like, he's going to come in and be the perfect Thomas Frank striker because he can do it all. He's strong, he's quick, he's between the posts, he's fantastic, poacher. We're not creating enough for those strikers at the moment. I mean, we're not creating enough to get it into the 10 at the moment. So that's where it's all down to Kudus. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you'd hope to rest Kudus in a game like this, but we might actually need him to pull a rabbit out of a hat because at the moment, you just don't see, like I say, where the goals are coming from. You don't see where the chances are coming from. So, and Kudus looks like our best player at the moment in attacking sense.
We saw Sarr, Palhinha and Bentancur play against Chelsea. Do you think for this one of those three is likely to be dropped? And if so, which one do you think were?
Yeah, it's a huge imbalance for me when those three play together. I think Bentancur gets dropped personally. I feel a bit sorry for Sarr. Don't think he's got enough game time.
No, he started the season so well, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And then it feels like Thomas Frank really likes Bentancur, and not just that, but he likes playing the two of them together, him and Palhinha. For me, it worked well in the Everton game they played together, but apart from that, I've not really. It just doesn't feel. It just feels really imbalanced, to be honest. So I think if you have Sarr and Palhinha in there, I'm not dropping Bentancur because I don't like him or I don't think he's good football or whatever, but I just think there needs to be a sacrifice made in there. And for me, I would sacrifice him first because of purely how good Palhinha has been and how good we know Sarr can be. And I think those two will work well together.
As a player, Bence, you've had a bad game, a really bad game. Everyone's on top of you to get it done. You go in with the boys on Monday. You've got a game against Copenhagen in the Champions League. Is this the perfect opportunity to put things right? And are you talking about it with each other?
It's a horrible feeling. When you come off a defeat like that and the manner in which you've lost, you're fully aware of what's being said by people like us. You're fully aware of it, and your family, everyone you're connected with. It's the worst feeling, and it's horrible. And you're targeting that Copenhagen game to put it right. Every lad will be.
Because
the whole team.
The noise is amplified even more so now, because in your generation, the social media things just come about.
Yeah, it's even worse now, yeah. But you can feel that energy, you feel embarrassed, you can't believe for one, you don't want your peers to come, they don't want them turning up and doing you know what I mean? Like Chelsea boys coming. And then you feel like you let the fans down, then you let your family down, you're going home with it, and it's not a nice feeling. Every player will be feeling that. Thomas Frank, all the coaching team, and they've got to put what a perfect game to put it right.
And so do you think in Thomas Frank's mind, he goes into that game knowing that the problem is we can't create anything. At home, there's a real stale atmosphere, it's a little bit toxic. Does he try and implement some way by being a more attacking? I don't know how he does that with the personnel he's got so far. And do you think sometimes that maybe it isn't necessarily coming from the manager, the players just sort of go into their shells? Because I can't imagine him saying to his players, like with Xavi Simons, hold on to the ball for 3 or more touches. That's got to be a natural thing as a player that he's doing.
I think Thomas Frank, he'd go in, he'd make sure that we're stable from set plays. He'll make sure that we've got structure with our back four. He'll make sure that the whole team is set up correctly and have a way of playing. But every manager, when you've got talented players, don't tell them what to do with the ball. No. They tell them areas in which they want them to get into. But when they get the ball, it's up to you to go and do your magic. If you're the one that's obviously internally lacking confidence, it's a horrible place to be. You kind of hide in and you're not receiving the ball. This is a perfect game to go in, have a really positive attitude, turn them over 3-4-0, and really, as we know in football, how quickly that turns from a negative to a huge positive, leading into Man United, and you're going into that game top of the world, and look, and then you can go and turn them over.
Yeah, that's it. Like a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday afternoon over Tottenham, always a bit of a buzz. You know, I think we go into the Manchester United game with confidence anyway after last season's. What, 4 out of 4 we beat them?
4 out of 4 in 3 different competitions.
Yeah. Do you feel that if we get a negative result against Copenhagen, Sonny, that Manchester United game, the toxicity in that stadium was going to be unreal?
I dread to think. I feel like there was maybe pressure going into this game, because if United had beaten Forest, that meant if they beat us, the guy can cut his hair, can't he? The United fan. So there was a lot riding on that game. I was thinking if we beat them and he can't cut his hair, we would have been perfect. But with Spurs, I just feel like at the moment we're all sitting here as fans questioning what the lineup should be. Like, I bet Frank's like racking his brain thinking I really need to get a couple of winning runs now going, because you got Copenhagen, you got United are in form, then you got the North London derby, and you've got PSG are in there as well the next couple of games. Some would say these are like good games for Thomas Frank, because he might, he likes having less of the ball against some of these teams, maybe like when he was at Brentford. But at home, you've just got to show a little bit more impetus going forward and create a bit more, especially with this United team. I know they've been a bit better of late. I mean, undefeated in 4. I still don't think they're great. I still think they're there to be had, especially with a back three as well. Like, I just want our wingers to go at their, wing backs and their centre backs and really give them a game. And especially with our recent run of form against United, I'm more confident about that than Copenhagen. I don't know why. I think that's just how my Spurs brain seems to work.
Very much so. I was on the sports bar weekend of the week on talkSPORT with Carlton Cole after West Ham lost to Leeds. He done like a rousing speech to camera for the West Ham fans to get behind the team. And all of a sudden, they beat Newcastle.
There you go, so down to Carlton Cole.
We need a Benny version.
We need a Benny. Sells out, Thomas.
Benny, straight down camera 2. Tell her exactly what we need to do to go and beat Copenhagen on Tuesday.
Right, Tottenham, all the boys, where are you? There you are. Come and listen to Uncle David. Oi, go out in Copenhagen, express yourself, get stuck in and get the result. 4-0. Bosh!
There you go. If it works for West Ham and Carlton Cole, it should work for us. Right, before we finish, guys, we've been talking about creativity all show. Do you think we let Heung-min Son go too early? Son, I'll go to you first.
It's a tricky one, because I think technically on paper he left at the right time, winning that trophy. The way that we had the parade and all that, it made total sense. But I've caught a few of his games for LAFC. And he's still got it. He can still whip in a free kick, and he's the thing for me that I think he lost a bit of that edge, that pace, and willing to sometimes shoot. But I think he'd maybe be good up top for us, like through the middle, like what he was playing under Andy's first season, just a little bit of an extra option, and maybe that leadership quality as well. He was the only person now from that. The old former Spurs teams is Ben Davis, and even he's injured at the moment. So another one for the injury list. So it sort of is, you're worrying where these leaders are coming from. I think the problem is, I think Romero's been a really good captain, is my counter-argument to that. Yeah. I think he's really taken that mantle on well, showed his great leadership qualities, and it's sort of like, he's telling Richarlison to calm down now. Didn't think I'd see that ever. So it is it's really tricky. I think if you could have kept him as an option against Chelsea, if he could have come on last 20 minutes, I think he could have made something happen more than the likes of Odebear or Tell.
Maya, of course, Son is different class to what he's talking about, Odebears, etc. Yeah. So that is a much better option to have. Or are you happy that he went off into the sunset and he's doing his thing in LA?
No, I'm so happy that he went. I think it was time for him to go. I think that he'd ran his Tottenham race and it'd come to an end, and he ended it in the best way possible. I know you talk about him kind of smashing it in America, but with all due respect, that's America. Yeah, and we all saw the performances towards the back end of his Spurs career.
Yeah, but that was the whole team. I think every single player gets a bly under Big Ange, and you go again, and you go, let me see. The other thing I think of with the Ange situation is the way we played with such a high line, there was never any space for Sonny to do anything.
I agree. It definitely didn't suit him for sure, no. But it just felt like, and I think that's why nobody was hugely surprised when he went. It was because it did kind of all feel like it was coming to an end. I'm also glad that he didn't go, to a rival in Europe. I think he's gone and done the right thing. There's sun is shining over in LA. He's clearly enjoying his football.
Another good quote, the sun is shining. What up today, Maya?
I didn't steal that one, so...
Ben, do you think we let him go too quick? Would you have kept him just...
Season or two too early, yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially. I heard he was carrying an injury last year as well. I don't know what it was, but I mean, he's unbelievable talent. And when you lose a player like that, it's a massive effect. I think in the dressing room as well, in the environment in the football club, I think he can produce moments of brilliance. You can see that he's done it over in America. I do understand it's not like you said, it's not on the level, but potentially the season or two too soon. But they've got the money. I don't know.
But for the sake of what was 15, 16 million?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was personally looking at that, or whether the injury was part of that.
I do recall the season going into the Champions League Cup final. We sold Moussa Dembele in January.
What a player.
Post that Champions League, you've had people like Trippier come out and say, I remember in January when we sold Moussa, we looked round and he wasn't in the changing room anymore.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing for the players. Sonny, not being there around the boys?
The environment's key. You see in 90 minutes on Saturday, I talk about it a lot. But when you're within that training ground, you're on the team bus, you're on the plane, you're in the hotel, you need the characters. They do drive like a decent atmosphere. They leave you comfortable, they leave you being able to do anything out on that pitch. And whether that's through humour or through just calmness or there's multiple ways of doing it. But that sort of character that's taken out of the dressing room is a huge hit. I mean, you can't underestimate it for one bit. That he's been in there for 10 years, producing them level of numbers. That amount of quality and his energy and his, because he's so infectious, isn't he, the way he is. You lose that from a team and an environment, it's massive.
So that's 2 versus 2. So we need you guys in the comments to decide. Do you think that Tottenham Hotspur let Heung-min Son go too early? Me and David Bentley think they went too early. Maya and Sonny thought it was the perfect farewell. It was the perfect farewell for him and he's doing his thing. But, of course, MLS season closes soon. Could be a little loan deal to be had.
If they're talking about AC Milan or something like that, why can't he come back to Tottenham?
100%, that's what I think.